So I hope everyone is able to see my screen.
It's very
Yes.
clear.
It's very clear. Okay. So that is the topic for today. So let's move on. So initially when I was contacted, I was given this list. But as you may notice, it is a very huge list, and a lot of developments are happening in the space of in the world of AI, and we can only handle a few at a time. So I decided to choose just a few, and during your free time, you can look at the rest here. This is not even an exhaustive list. There are very, very many. As you can see, we have those specifically for literature search, the list, connected papers, research rabbit, then writing assistants, grammar, citations, illustrations, data analysis. They are very, very, very many. So you can just look at a few. Once you master how to use one, it will be very, very easy for you to adjust and start using the rest. So today we are going to be looking at these. Today we are going to be looking at Elicit, and Elicit is actually a tool which will help us a lot in our literature search process. It will also help us to do summarizations, also extracting concepts from the abstracts, and also gap identification. So we shall also be looking at ChatGPT, which has been trending all over the world. We shall look at how we can use it to help us in writing, formulating ideas, and suggestions. Then we shall move on to Zotero for referencing, see how we can do. We can automate the process of referencing. And then we shall finalize with Canva so that we can learn about doing illustrations. So Canva is also relatively a new application. It can be used for lots of things, graphic design, presentations. This presentation, I actually did it using Canva. So instead of PowerPoint, today I opted to use something different. So we shall see as well how to create a poster and what using Canva. So what is Elicit? Now, Elicit is a research assistant language model, just like ChatGPT, which can help us in our search process, literature review. So we are going to look at that practically, how we can do that. I don't want to delay on this. I have very limited time. So these are some of the key features of Elicit. So the beauty about Elicit, unlike Google Scholar, it can help you search for these papers thematically. You don't need to match keyword by keyword and what. You just enter the search term you want, and it is going to help you get for you the exact word, exact paper, or exact information you're looking for regarding that topic. So it can also help you make summaries, extract, can also help you extract summaries from abstracts, even from the whole paper. So it can also help you do a citation search if you've done literature searches before. One of the ways of doing a literature search, you can do citation, where you look at, you can start with a specific paper and you look at the sources it consulted. Then you can also look at the sources that consulted that very paper. So Elicit can do that very, very, very well. So it can also filter and organize information, and also help you share your information. Let's say you're doing, maybe you're conducting this research as a group. So you can do some little work, and then you just copy and share a link with a colleague, and the colleague can take off from where he stopped. So before we move on to the next item, I'd like to demonstrate to you practically how we can use Elicit. Let me switch my view to elicit. Stop sharing. Okay, just a moment. So Elicit is an open source tool. That is the beauty about it. That is the URL. If you're seated on your computer, you can go to Google and type elicit, elicit.org, and it will bring you to this page. Of course, you need to have an account to use it. And creating the account is very simple. If you have a Gmail address, you can just sign in using Gmail, or you can create an account using any email you want, the normal process. I've already I did not create the account, but I just signed in using my Gmail address. So if your Gmail is already open, you just let me log out and show you. Okay, so when you get to Elicit, log in here. So you have these two options: log in with email if you have set up the account already. If not, you have to first sign up for an account. But I'm going to log in with Google here. And since my email is already open, it is not going to request me for a password and what. So it will just take me straight to the page. So now, when you get to Elicit, of course, you want to do a literature search, but sometimes you don't know where to start. You just have a topic in mind, or you have questions, you know. So Elicit will help you. So we can start with any question you have in mind about the topic you want to research about. So let's say we want to understand maybe the effect of, let's say, morale on staff performance, such. So Elicit is going to consult. It is connected to the semantic database, which has over 155 million papers. So this is there's a wealth and the breadth of knowledge in that database. So it is going to display for you around could be depending on the material available on that topic, but it's going to summarize and present to you the most relevant, semantically, the most relevant papers. So now it is your job to look at the results that have been presented. Here on the side, we have additional information about the paper. Now here we are looking at abstract summary. So what this does, it looks at the paper and then using AI, it extracts a summary from that paper. So what we are looking at here that I'm pointing at, this is automatically generated by the Elicitor AI, this that I'm pointing at here, this abstract. So when you click on any, it will actually show you where it picked this information. So you can see that. So let's first go back to the main page. So now we have our results here that we are looking at. We have impact of staff morale on performance in school organizations. Then we have, so each row is a paper. Each row is a paper. Shows you the citations, when it was published. And then now on the side here, if you don't like If you feel like this is not relevant, you have the option of deleting here. You can simply delete that. Then it will go away. Then you can continue browsing through until you land on exactly what you feel like is relevant by looking at the abstract. So if you find that this is exactly what you wanted, morale and workplace performance, you can star it. So, and when you click on that star, it gives you now the option of displaying more papers that are similar to what you've starred. So if I scroll down here, I have the option of clicking on show more like starred. So when I click on this, it is going to now present more papers for me to look at that have been starred. So that is a very, very helpful tool. Now, LS still has lots and lots of features which you can use to filter and sort and do all kinds of tricks that you want. So it also allows you to search within these papers that are displayed here. So still on this paper that I have liked, morale and work performance, I can look at some of the key items in the paper. For example, these are now automatically generated. I can look at what was measured in this paper. If I click on it, it is going to display for me now another column here of the key aspects that were measured in this paper. So in this paper, what was measured is the morale, workplace productivity, product quality, corporate ethic and culture, and work effort. So still, if I want to go further, I can still click here and it is going to bring up more options. What do I want to look at? Number of participants in the study, I can look at that. What was the age of people in the study that was conducted? If that is my interest. What were the main findings? So if I click here, it is going to generate for me the main findings from this particular paper about morale. So here I can look at the main findings. Morale influences productivity in an approximately linear fashion. Then the effect of morale on productivity is larger when management regards product quality as important, attempts to develop a corporate and ethic and culture. So still, it also what gives you options here. You can also look at the limitations if you want to understand, okay, the gap, the research gap, and what were the limitations of the study as well. So unfortunately here it has not been able to generate those limitations because I cannot see them. So yeah, so sometimes AI may not find everything that you want. Let's say you can also type a question here. Let's say maybe the research gap. Let's see what the AI can do. What was the research gap? So it is still processing. So for this paper, the AI has not been able to find the research gap here. But if I scroll up this figure, for this paper on effect of staff participation, morale, and shortage of organizational performance, I can see here the research gap. So now I'm looking at a different paper. So here is what the AI has been able to summarize for me. What were the outcomes? It has told me here the outcomes that were measured, population characteristics here, and it is pointing at where it picked them from the abstract. In this study, we looked at this and this and this, samples from 67 countries. So in case there are errors, maybe you can correct by looking at that. Then what were the major findings as well? Here I pointed out what was the research gap. Still showing you here the research gap for you. If you want, you can even copy this and keep it in your notes. Then now these are ethical considerations here for this paper. Can you trust it? The sources, then critics, which the authors that have been able to critique this paper, what did they say? Then people who have cited this paper as well are shown here. So let's go back to the main page. So still, let me close these ones. Yes, just abstract. So back here to the main page, you can see we have 2017, 2016. Now, what if we want to look at the latest papers about this topic here? We have filters here where we can even sort. So you can even decide to choose to only have papers that have PDFs. So if you check this, it's going to return only papers with PDFs. So let's give it some time to do that. But in the meantime, we can also come here to the option of filtering. For example, if you want now particular keywords, you can still do that here under the keywords. You can choose to include or exclude. You want the abstract that does not include these particular words, you can still add them there. If you want date of publication, when do you want? Do you want after, let's say, want 2017 and above? You click on that as well. Then the study type. Let's look at what is under study type. So what do you want? Do you want a review? Do you want a systematic review? Do you want a meta-analysis, longitudinal study? What kind? So it is up to you to choose what is going to suit your research, since you know why you are doing the research and the importance and the reason for doing that. So depend on all of those aspects for you to choose. So yeah, I think it has sorted for us, that has whatever. Included documents with PDFs. I can see one of them is here. Number of citations, 27. So let's see about the year of publication. So after here, I chose after 2017, and we can see here 2020, 2020, 2019, and what 2021. So on, we can see all the summaries here generated by the AI. So if you want to open this paper, you can just click on the PDF. Yeah, and it will download for you the PDF here. This is the PDF. Our employees can be in this and this. So Elicit can also help us do a summary. Let's say we want to summarize the abstract of this paper. We can simply copy it, copy the summary, then go back to Elicit and come here under tasks. Click on task. Then we have different options here. We have, this one will give you keywords, research questions, and what ideas here to brainstorm. Then you continue scrolling. There are lots of options, rephrasing sentences, but what we want a summary. So click on this, abstract summarization. So as soon as it opens, you'll paste there the abstract you want to be summarized for you. Okay, it's paste. And then after pasting, you enter. And wait for it to do its thing. I can see some questions already, but we shall deal with those later. So it has, from the abstract, it has been able to come up with this summary. So this is just a sentence summarizing what this abstract is. So you can pick this and continue researching about it and explore further. So we have these. So still, if you want now to continue, let's say you're interested in this, your studies now tending to this in accounting and management, among accounting and management, employees' productivity and competitiveness. So you can still start this, and then you say show more, like start. And it will produce for you more summaries like that. So let's go back to where we were before. Here, filter. We are done with this. So what else? So later, I'll show you now how to capture these references. If this is one of the papers that you're going to consult and include in your research now. Here, how do you capture? The beauty about this, it gives you this, which you can just copy and then insert into Zotero, and Zotero will capture it automatically. You can as well drag and drop the PDF, and that will also be captured there automatically. So, at least it also gives you the ability to, it also can make for you suggestions. So if we try, if we try clicking up here in the title bar where we put our research phrase here, we have this option of brainstorm questions on this. So if we click that, it's going to give us more options in case we are not sure about what we are researching. We are very new to the topic. So maybe what factors influence employee morale? No. Does employee morale affect job performance? I think this is similar to what we're researching. So if I click on this, it should be able to display now more papers about this, which is similar to what we're looking at earlier. How does employee morale affect job performance? Impact of employee morale on organizational success. Then we have morale, workplace performance. Yeah, I think this is a good article. So now here, about this new search term that we've entered, the AI has summarized for us, has given us a summary of the top 4 papers here. So this is a summary. Instead of looking at everything down, you can as well look at this here in the corner. So this is the first paper, suggests that employee morale has a positive impact on job performance. Then it gives you what the author found that positive employee morale results in positive behavior and work effective. performance. So we can click on the paper to explore further. So this is the paper by Malik 2019. Has been cited by 5 people. So here is the summary. So it picked this summary from here. It is pointing you to where all of this text has been generated from. This and that explains. So here. So still outcomes that were measured. Population characteristics, if you want to look at them as well. It is even showing you here the number that were involved in the study, then critiques of the paper, and also other citations. So we can try to ask the AI here, maybe what was the research? Yep. Ask. See what it comes up with. Nothing found. So let's try something else. Let's see the limitations. Study. Nothing found. Okay. So you can use this tool. You can explore different ideas on how to use this. So like this is which paper are we looking at? This one. Impact of an organization success. Where is that? It's the first one. So there's also another one. What is the summary of this? Found that moral influences productivity and what? Yeah, so once you get here somewhere and you feel like, wow, this is a wonderful paper, I would like to read it, you can locate it. Let's see if this is open access. This is on Sage. Sage is usually closed unless this is an open access document. Let's see what comes up. Oh, but you're not seeing my screen. Sorry about that. Let me go back to where I not that. At this. So I am trying to get this paper. I'll show you a trick of how to get these papers. If they are closed source, cannot get them. Where are we? It is taking very, very long to load. Let me just copy and paste this title in Google Scholar and see what I get, what I come up with. Okay. Yeah. The document is available in Google Scholar. It's open source. Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. So basically that is how you would use Elicit to do literature search. You'll forgive me for spending very little time on this. We have a number of things to cover, but you can explore as well on your own and see what you come up with. Yeah, and that's how you learn, by practicing, by doing, and what. That's how you learn. So I don't know whether we can have questions and then we move on to another tool.
No, let us proceed.
We proceed. Okay, I hope I'm doing well on time. So yeah, okay. When the questions come, we'll return to this. So let's move on to another tool. Let me share my screen again. Where are we? Share. Is it? Okay. Share this very quickly. Okay. So I'll list it. We shall come back to that at the time of questions. So now we move on to the next tool, ChatGPT, which has been making rounds all over on social media everywhere. Now, ChatGPT also is a language model, is built on a language model like Elicit. Yeah, so a language model is is an AI that is trained to understand language, interpret. Yes, that is what a language model is. So we can use ChatGPT here to generate ideas, do summaries, look at different sources. So what are the key features of ChatGPT? So we can have a conversation, text generation, suggestions, information retrieval. So I don't want to keep talking about this. Let's go to ChatGPT and look at how it works and how it can help us in our research. With ChatGPT. So ChatGPT. Let me log out first. Then I share my screen. Okay. Sharing screen in a second. ChatGPT. Okay. So to access ChatGPT, the URL is anyway, even if you can search for it in Google, but the URL is chat.openai.com. It will bring you to this page. Pardon? Okay, let me continue. Then also for you to be able to use ChatGPT, you need to have an account as well, and it has a free version and then a premium version. So, but still the free version is good enough for you as well. So this is the account that I use. You can still use Microsoft or Google, it's up to you. But you need to set up an account. Like I did earlier, setting up an account is very easy. So when you open ChatGPT, you'll see here, the latest version is 4, but 4 is a paid version. So we are going to be using 3.5. So of course, when you log into GPT for the first time, it may not be looking like this. I have settings, and I normally prefer using the dark. It may be looking like this. So if you find it looking like that, don't be scared. That is just a theme. So this is ChatGPT, which can help us in generating ideas, writing, and what. So let us say I'm very, very new to what can we research about. I have no idea. I want to research about maybe performance management.
Your voice, your low, come closer to your microphone.
Oh, you're not, are you hearing me now?
You can improve a little. You can come more closer.
I come more closer. Let me try and increase the volume
That is better.
of the microphone. I don't know why it wasn't picking up. Let me try to increase. Am I audible enough now? Hello?
Yeah, you're edible enough. Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
If you can maintain it there and above.
Eh,
The
okay.
moderator, I have a small challenge. May I ask?
Yes, please.
I typed in chat.openai. Is it .org?
No, it's
or
.com.
It's .com. Okay.
Chat.openai.com.
.com. Okay, thanks.
Yes. So you can easily hold a conversation with ChatGPT and get very many suggestions. Though you need to understand that these models are also biased, and sometimes they may produce inaccurate information. That's why you have to make sure that, yes, when you get this information, you still have to go through it and make sure everything is correct. I've come across papers where authors did not take time to edit, and you can easily tell this is a paper generated by ChatGPT. And surprisingly, you'll find it is in one of those prestigious journals, meaning also the editors did not take time to look at the paper and its content. Otherwise, they would have noticed that. Because if you go to Google Scholar, let's do that here briefly. If you go to Google Scholar, let's Google Scholar. Stop sharing. Google Scholar, Google Scholar. Go to Google Scholar here, and then you search for as an AI bot. You're going to come across lots of papers where authors did not bother. After getting whatever they wanted from ChatGPT, they left. They did not bother editing.
How did that get picked up in the peer review?
Pardon?
How come that didn't get picked up in the peer review by the paper, by the journal?
I totally do not understand. Totally do not understand.
Can you repeat what you typed there in Google Scholar, please?
Yeah, as an AI bot. Yeah. Because ChatGPT is an AI bot. You can see all of these papers have that in them, AI bot, AI bot. So
is Google Scholar detecting that the paper had elements that were probably generated by AI?
yes, please. So let's go back to ChatGPT. So make sure whenever you pick content from there, edit. Take time and edit. Let me share my screen again. ChatGPT.
Hello, Konrad.
Yes, please.
Yeah, now when content was picked from ChatGPT and put in a paper, and I ran that paper through Turnitin, what does Turnitin say?
Now, Turnitin is going to check whether you've done proper citation first. Because when you get this content still, you're going to read through it and make sure you do citation properly. But if you don't do that, of course, it will know you plagiarized. Because there are also tools that can detect that this content is AI generated.
What I'm asking, if Turnitin gives me maybe the appropriate percentage that is required, maybe these papers finally go through that and they are published. Then do we have maybe in a way we do research that after Turnitin, now you run it through this to detect that?
Actually, Turnitin is even trying to incorporate those tools in their program, so that when you run it through, they can detect all of that. You don't have to run it through Turnitin, then something else. No.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. So let's go back to ChatGPT. So let me share my screen. GPT. So we are here on ChatGPT, like I said. Now we want to explore, let's say, give ChatGPT a prompt. Suggest search topics about management. Yeah, just a broad thing, and we see what it gives us. So you can see ChatGPT has generated 12, but still these are very, very broad topics which you'll still need to refine and what. So if you have no idea to research about, this can be a starting point for you. You look at the idea that has been generated, see, can I do research about this? So let's say we want to explore this leadership impact on performance management. So we can still the quality we are going to get from ChatGPT will depend on the the quality of content we enter, the kind of questions we enter. If we enter vague questions, of course we are going to get vague answers. So you have to make sure that you're giving it specific prompts and what, so that you can get the best out of it. So anybody who would like to suggest anything on this? No idea?
A question on anything?
No, let's what would you like me now to whatever among these that have been generated, which one would you like us to explore further?
The cross-cultural experience
Cross-culture.
performance.
So we can say suggest a topic based on topic based on, see what we get. So ChatGPT has been able to generate for us this cross-cultural dimensions and their influences on cross-cultural performance and management strategies. It has even been able to produce for us like a possible abstract. The aim, I can see the aim here, the methods, possible conclusion. Also, it has given us some research questions which we can use to explore this topic here that has been suggested. Challenges that are multidimensional, be adapted. It has suggested very, very many things. Even the methodology that we could use as well, you know. So, of course, sometimes ChatGPT might impress you, but still you need to look at this information critically, and then you see what is right, what you can do, because ChatGPT is always going to give you an answer no matter what. It's up to you to decide whether this is okay or not. So now we can pick this topic and go back to elicit and then read from there. So ChatGPT can also help you if you don't know where to start from. Let's say this is now the topic you're going to search about, but you do not know who are the key authors, what are the key publications, and what. You can also request ChatGPT to, let's say, suggest literature. Let's say literature to, let's just read literature to read, understand topic 18 from, say, 2017, from 2017 set to date. So now ChatGPT is going to suggest for you some papers, books, and other literature that you could explore to get a better understanding of this topic. But still, because now this version we are using 3.5 was trained on data up to 2021. So data after 2021 may not be available. So for you to access data above beyond 2021, you have to pay for the premium, the ChatGPT 4, and use some plugins. It will get for you the current, but at least it gives you something for where you can begin from. Let's say it's a perspective on what, impact of what. So you can now go back to Google Scholar or go back to Elicit and try and look at some of these articles, trying to read, and then you get to know who is who in this field, what have they written, and from there you can even snowball using their articles and other citations to their articles, and then you get a better understanding. So with time, as you read, you'll get to know now exactly what you need to search for, what are the keywords, like that, slowly by slowly, and get a better understanding of the topic. So ChatGPT can also help us, let's say, with assuming you want to maybe you've been stuck maybe with writing maybe an introduction or what, you're stuck somewhere, you're trying to write but you cannot get an idea of what to write. So you can use ChatGPT. You can feed it with information and then it will give you an idea. So let's pick one of the papers. I have a paper here which is open. Yeah. So I have picked the abstract from one of the papers I downloaded earlier about morale and workplace performance, and I'm going to feed it in ChatGPT for ChatGPT to generate for me, like, let's say, an introduction. Also, if I want, let's say, possible research questions and what. Let me say here, generate an introduction from the abstract. Here, what have I done? And paste. So that is the abstract. Let's see what ChatGPT is going to do. So this is the introduction it has been able to generate for me from this abstract. Let me try as well to see if it can generate an appropriate title. Just a title. So this is the title it has been able to generate for me from the abstract that I pasted in here earlier. So you don't have to copy all of this and what, but at least it can give you an idea of how you can structure your paper if you're somewhere stuck and you don't know what to do next. So we've seen how that works and how that operates. So we are left with less than an hour. So allow me to stop here for ChatGPT and then move on to the next item, which is Zotero. We shall take the questions later when I'm done. So I'm going to go through Zotero quickly, and then we can spare enough time for the questions. And share my screen on the Zotero thing. Okay. Share screen, share screen. Okay. So ChatGPT is done. So Zotero, this is for specifically for managing references. So there are other tools that you can use. Zotero is open source. There is Mentory, there is EndNote, there is RefWorks. So it's up to you. Once you learn how to use one, you can never fail to learn how to use others. That is how computer has been simplified. So we are going to look at a practical demonstration of Zotero. So let me switch back to Zotero now. So for you to be able to use Zotero, you have to download it first, which I did earlier, and install it in your computer. Let me open it here. Zotero. Try to minimize all of this and that. So let me share my screen here quickly. So share my screen here quickly. Zotero. So this is how Zotero looks. you'll need to go to the website or Google, search for Zotero, Zotero. It is around is around 50 MB. Install it on your computer. So after installing it, you'll also have to install a connector. Now the connector will be installed in your browser. So the connector will simply help you to pick articles when you are searching and what you'll be able to pick those articles using the connector. Let me show you what the connector is quickly here. Zotero. Okay, let me share my screen as well for you to see. So this is the site, Zotero. Once you get to Zotero, zotero.org, download here. Option of downloading, it will tell you what you need. So if you're using Firefox, obviously you have to install the Firefox connector. If you're using Chrome, you'll also have to install the Chrome connector. So I've already installed Zotero on my computer. Then after installing Zotero, you'll come here to install Firefox connector. Once you click on this, it is going to download here. And then it will be added. It will be added as one of your extensions. Continue to install. I'm going to cancel because I have it installed already. So after installing Zotero on your computer, it will show up here in the corner of your browser. I don't know how it will look like in Chrome, but you should be able to see it here. I hope all of you are seeing here what I'm pointing at, Zotero. So now, how do we use Zotero? So we have now seen how to use Elicit, how to use ChatGPT. Now, Elicit has given us some sources, of course, that we are going to refer to in our literature, and we need to capture them from the beginning. Otherwise, if you do not capture these sources, it will be hard at the end when you're doing what? When you're managing your references and they tell you, no, please, we need you to submit in Chicago. And there is no way you're going to, and it's going to take you time for you now to change, let's say, to a new style or Harvard or what. But if you make sure you do this straight from the beginning, it will be very, very easy. Once they tell you no, submit your paper with this reference style, it's just a click, and then you're switching to that style very, very simply. So after installing the Zotero and the connector as well in the browser, it is also important to make sure that Zotero is also installed in the word processor that you're using. So let's say you're using Microsoft Word. You have to make sure that Zotero is also installed in Microsoft Word, because it will help you when you're writing to easily refer to the Zotero database and pick those references that you want to include in your paper. So let me share my screen here about Word, how it appears, how Zotero appears in Word. Quickly here, keep sharing. Is Microsoft Word, share. This is my Word document now, blank. So among these tabs here, there is the tab for Zotero here, just after view here, between view and help. In Microsoft Word, that is where it will appear. I don't know how it will appear in those people using XLib and Open something, but I know majority of us use Word. So there will be a tab here. If after installing Zotero on your computer, this does not appear, you don't see this tab, you can close Microsoft Word and restart. If it still doesn't work, I'll show you how you can reinstall it in the Zotero program. So let me open the Zotero tab, how it looks like. So when you open the Zotero tab, you'll see these: add citation, edit, insert note, then document preferences, refresh and unlink. Those are the options that you have under the Zotero tab. So if this is not appearing in your Word document and you've restarted Microsoft Word and it's not showing up, you can go back to Zotero. Let me share my screen of Zotero. You can go back to Zotero. What is this? Zotero. Yeah, you can go back to Zotero and yeah, this is browser connector. It should be, let's check under preferences. Yes, it'll go back to here, edit, preferences. Then the styles here, these are styles installed. Then you click on word processors. Then here, reinstall Microsoft Word add-in. Here it's already reading the word in is currently installed. So for if it wasn't appearing that, you can try here, reinstall and then close. And then if you're using LibreOffice, you can still do the same thing. So that's how you make sure that that plugin is installed in what? In Word. Otherwise, if it's not installed in Word, then you might find it very, very, very hard to what? To add sources to your document. You might have them captured in Zotero, but you cannot add them to your what? To your document. So how do we add sources? So there are very many ways of adding reference sources to Zotero. I hope you're looking at Zotero. Could be talking, you're looking at something else. So we have, let me first delete this. So before you add anything to Zotero, you have to create a collection. You have to create a collection. How do you create a collection? Because now you could be doing research, let's say on let's say you're writing maybe like 2 or 3 papers, different topics and what. You don't want to mix up your sources. So that is the essence of doing your collection. So you'll come here to this where you see this folder option, click on that, new collection. So I'm going to call mine PhD. So this is for my PhD research. I create that collection. You can have as many collections as you want. Then how do we add sources? So you can do it manually. You can use the DOI, or you can simply capture them from let's say you visit a journal site and you just capture it from there automatically using the connector in the browser. So first we are going to see how to add sources manually. So I'm going to open up my source here, which you may not be seeing right now, just in case. And let me display it. Let's see, where is it? Where is it? Let me add a different paper. Zotero is here. So to add manually, you click here where I see this plus icon. There is a drop down icon. Click on that. This gives you options now. What are you adding? Is it a book? Is it a book section? Because all of these have different metadata which is required to be captured. For a book, you know the key ones: title, authors, date of, you have publication, maybe edition as well. If it has an editor, you can capture that as well. If it's a book section, let's say like book chapter, you might want to capture the editor or the author of that book chapter and the person who wrote the entire book as well. If it's a document, journal article, so it's upon you to decide which type of source you're using. If it's a journal article, make sure it's a journal article. Otherwise, if it's a journal article and you choose a book, you may end up not capturing the volume, the issue, and the journal name, meaning your references will be incorrectly displayed. So let's assume my first source, or the source I want to capture, is a book. So I'll choose a book. Let's say the title is Performance Management. So authors. So first last name is which one? Then first name. If you're doing it manually, there's no need for capturing the abstract. We don't need that at all. Series, volume, edition. Let's say second edition. Place. Say Kampala. Publisher. Oh, is it Mukono? It's Mukono, but bookshop or something like that. So ideally for a book, that would be enough, because ISBN is not used at all. Yes, then that is done. So you can see even the information has been captured here. It is even displaying an icon of a book. So that's how you can manually add a source, because sometimes you may land on an article, but it is not online, or what you want to add it. How do you do that? That is how you do this. Then assuming we already know the identifier, how do we do that automatically? There's this option of add items by identifier. So you click on that, make sure you have the ISBN, that is one of the identifiers, or if it's a journal, you have the DOI and what. So let me pick one of the document object identifiers of this paper, if it has one. This one by Sage, it has one. And I paste it there in Zotero. So I come here, paste, then press enter. So if it is an open source article, Zotero will also pull for you the PDF and drop for you the PDF. Now, our journal article here on morale and work performance has been added. Here you can see the type is this journal article. Has even included for us the abstract, which ideally we don't want that, but I'll still leave it there. Publication, this must be the journal name, volume, issue, page, when it was published, and all of other information, extra information. So that has been added. So if you want, you can as well, let's say we made some notes earlier on this article using a licit. So what I want to do on this very article, I can add notes here, add notes. So let me pick the notes I made earlier, where the notes are made. Pick my notes here using a licit. Workplace performance. Okay. Let me say these are the notes here. So I've added my note there. So still here, Zotero will show you that this article here if it shows this arrow here, it means there is something down. There is a drop down. This is an option down. So there is a note which has been added. This is the note. So I've so far added 2 articles. I've shown you how to add manually, then also using the identifier. Then let's try using the Zotero connector to add an article. This time, let's go to Google Scholar and search for anything on performance management. Let's see what I'm going to search for. Let me just copy this and search for it in Google Scholar, and then show you how to capture whichever source that interests me. So let me share now Google Scholar. Where's Google Scholar? Yeah. Sharing in a bit. Google Scholar, where are we? Yeah. So let me paste that there. Anyway, this is the one that I don't want that. Let me look for something effective. Let's say I want to pick this one. Effect of workplace fun on employee morale and performance. So if you look here in the corner, we have the Zotero connector appearing as a folder. The reason it appears as a folder up there is because currently on this page, we have very, very many sources. If we had only, let's say one source, or we had opened the PDF, which I'm going to show you later, it will show up as an icon of a document. So this actually helps you if you want now to capture multiple sources here. Let's say we are also going to pick which one. This one, workplace environment on workers' welfare and productivity. So let's say we are taking 2. I'll come here to my browser here, the Zotero connector, click on it. Then it is going to display for me all the articles on this, on this page. Then I'll simply choose the ones that I want. I want this one. I want, which one? I want this one. Which other one? Crowded place. Let's choose also this one. So I've chosen 3 articles. Then okay. Then it is going to ask me here, saving, but to where? So if I had other collections in Zotero, then it would have given me options of more others. But right now I only have PhD. So I choose PhD. And that is it. It has saved there. So I just click elsewhere. And now let me share now my Zotero, whatever the desktop bit, so that you can see the articles that have been added. Let's this one. I want to share multiple screens now. Tired of switching. Okay. So this is what? This is the Zotero desktop version here. We've added 3 more. Let me close this. We've added initially we had added these first 2 above here, morale, the first 2. Now we've added these 3, these here. We've added them. And you can see here, they are showing us icons here that it has even downloaded the what? The PDF. So we can see here an icon of a document. There's a full text PDF there, which we can, if we want to read, double click on it as well. Read. We can still make notes from this one as well. So close. Then there's also this one, also full text. We can look at the metadata of this one here. So this is the title, authors, year of publication, volume, short title, whatever, where it was picked from. There is also this one. This is a thesis. That's why you see it has this icon of the word of that hat, PhD thesis type and word, when it was published, the university. So all of that has been added. So, but still, if you want to edit this, if something was captured poorly, let's say here, you can still click on the source, go back here and edit. It will save automatically. So right now we have these already. So I want to show you how we can add them now. We have our sources, we have our notes and what. So how do we add them to our document? Now we are writing. So let me open the blank document. Let me share with you. Where is the screen? Share. Stop sharing here. So let's see, where is my Word document here? Zero. Okay, so here is now my Word document and what I've started writing, let's say according to so and so. Then how do I add my what? My how do I cite in text? How do I do an in-text citation? Very simple. I'll come here to the Zotero tab. There. Come here to add citation. So when you do this for the first time, it is going to even ask you which style do you want to use. So you can see here there are very many styles. If you do not find any of the different styles that you want, you can always come here and add. Search for it and it will be added. Now I want to use APA but the 7th edition, so I okay. So it is going to open for me now my library where I have my sources. So who do I want to write about? Who do I want to quote? Say I want to quote myself. So I click on the source I want to include. And then if I know the page number that maybe I'm doing like a direct quote and what, I can put the page number, let's say 12. And then, okay. So it is going to show the citation here. Now it's showing here my name, but no date. Meaning in our here citation, we did not include a date of publication. So those are some of the errors you could come across. So let's include that this was published in 2023. So that has been included there. Let me come back to my document and click here on refresh. So I updated the other side and now it has been here added automatically. Let's say still maybe I'm writing about me. Sanyu claims that I don't want to have, I already know the author who is writing, but I just want to cite them. Say Sanyu says, I come to where Sanyu says claims, sorry, Sanyu, so claims. So I come here where I want to put the citation, come here. This, click on this. Then this time, because I've written the author's name already, I'll just check this mark, omit author. So it will just put for me the date there, Sanyu 2023, then I can write. And like here where it is putting everything in the date. So still, if I want to add multiple authors, I can still go back here to add citation. There is an option here for multiple sources. You click on multiple sources. So you choose all the sources that you want. Let's say I want to add all these 4. Click here, then shift all these, then move. All of these have been moved here. So, okay. So it is going to include for me all the sources here in this document properly. So at the end of the day, when I'm done writing, I can always automatically generate now a bibliography or a list of references. I'll just come here to add bibliography, click on that, and it's automatically going to add everything that I consulted here. Let's call this one references. It's going to add everything here. So assuming I want to change the style, I should come here to document preferences and I choose let's say Chicago. It's going to change to Chicago. As simple as that. So the other thing you can do with Zotero, you can it has an option of synchronizing your sources to the cloud. There's an option of creating an account on their website, and then you log in. It's not okay. You log in and synchronize this to the cloud so that all the sources that are here on your desktop will also be in the Zotero cloud. So let's say you do not carry your computer, you can still log in wherever you are and have access to your sources. So I beg to end here, Zotero. If you have questions, please. We are going to take those questions later. So let's move on to the last tool. The last tool we're supposed to look at before we start taking questions is where here.
Yes, Mr. Konrad, you have like 20 minutes
20 minutes.
to the hour of 11, and then I think we start questions.
Okay, let me go through this very fast. Where we share my screen here. Okay, so the last item we're supposed to look at is Canva. So now Canva is an AI tool specifically for doing illustrations, graphic designs, communicating your ideas visually. So if there are very many options, you could use you could as well use Adobe Illustrator, but the problem with Adobe, it's a bit complicated, but Canva is very simplified. So how does Canva work? Let's look at that. So I've even closed it. Let's go back to Canva. So let's go to the home page of Canva. This is how Canva looks like. So to access Canva, let me log out. So Canva is CANVA. Why is it taking long to log out? So there are very many templates. So you'll go to there. Let's start from scratch. Canva. Here, Google or whichever search engine you use. Canva, that is the one. Click on it and then create an account. So if you have Gmail, you can log in using your Gmail. If you don't have Gmail, you just create an account. It's very simple. So continue with Google. And then I'm logged in. So depending on what you want to whatever to design or to communicate, let's say you want to do a poster or something, you can just search for it. There are very many templates. Search posters. So there are templates which are paid for and there are those which are free. So if you're a premium customer, then you'll have very, very many options. But still, even if you're not a premium customer, you can still use the free stuff that is available, or you can design for yourself from scratch. You can see the different, these are yet to load, different posters and what. You can use this for PowerPoint presentations. You can make a video using this. It is very, very, very simple. Even easier to use compared to PowerPoint. That is loading. So you must be connected to the internet because this is on the cloud to use this this application Canva. So you can see those templates that have Pro on them or which have that icon of a throne. Those are premium. You need to what? You need to subscribe to be able to what? To use them. Let's say we want, this is the kind of template we want. I can simply click on it and then I say customize this template. And then using all the knowledge we've gained from ChatGPT, summarize each and everything that you want to appear in your poster. And then you start changing the titles, introduction, all of those. Those are very simple things. And when you're done, because I don't want to go deep into this, this is very simple. Click on then just change the text. Let's say this one, I don't want it. Delete. It's conclusion. You can insert diagrams here. If you want text, here, add text. If you want other elements, arrows, circles, very simple. So I want to add the circle somewhere. Then resize. Drag it somewhere. So you can practice how to do this on your own. This is very, 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 very simple. Brand so once you're done with customizing whatever you want, you can change font, color, edit image, lots of options. Then you can come here to share. You can share on email. If you don't want to share, you can come here to file and download. If you want it as a PDF, download 2 pages, and then it will download for you the PDF and you can print, share it on email and So with the whatever download. So basically that is about Canva. So I want us to use this time to take questions. Yeah, I'll let you practice on how to use Canva, but let's take questions now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Konrad Sanyu, for that wonderful presentation. Actually, for some people, I've already said a number of interesting comments in the chat. They say Sanyu is a very big man, and he has a lot of interesting stuff. And then someone says AI is a new millennium, and a number of questions. But I wanted to members first raise up their hands, and we give you before I can read for you some of the questions in the chat. So can someone raise up a hand and we get a direct chat to Sanyu, please? I know some people may want, they're itching. Madam Golet has been very active in the chat. Madam Golet, would you want to ask some of the questions directly?
If we don't have questions, we can go to the
Thank
chat.
you.
We have, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
It's fine. They can be ready from the chat. Those are
No,
the
you
questions
can
I
ask.
have.
No, ask. You can ask. Okay, there's a hand there. Professor Chibita.
Yes, good. Thank you very, very much, Sanyu. That was fantastic. There's something you did, some magic you did very, very quickly in ChatGPT, where I think you entered search terms and generated a list of publications selected, kind of organized by article, books, databases. Could you kindly refresh us on how you did that?
Okay.
Okay, and then we shall question from Dr. Grace Chomhendo.
Yeah, thank you so much. For this presentation. How I wish it was physical for many of us. I have a question about ChatGPT. And I'm glad the way you have presented it. You presented it, how we could actually use it. And now there are all these debates about stopping our students from using it and having policies about it. And now you even mentioned that some people have just got papers and they are published in high profile journals.
Yes.
How do we deal with that institution? How do we deal with it at institutional level, especially the students? I have used it a bit, and I put in, for instance, for it to define some of the terms and gender. I can confess it defined those terms more than I could have done. And they're very helpful in terms of maybe if you don't edit them, I guess it's also problematic. But how do we deal with it now? Because we are being asked to monitor our students who are taking these assignments to ChatGPT and then just submit. What measures? How do we deal with it?
Okay.
But I really love all the presentations, and I hope we can share also the slides. Thank you so much for organizing this.
Okay, we also have a question from Mr. Masiga Simon. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Konrad. I also want to request that you would pardon on how to install Zotero in Word. If you refresh on that, it will be very good, perfect for me. I'm very grateful for everything you have shared.
Welcome.
So, Mr. Konrad,
yes,
there
please.
is something I'm listening in. We are going to ask NEMRA family to organize some physical. This is more, for me, I'm a surgeon and I
Yes,
have
please.
So when I'm opening people's chests, I usually I'm there with my residents. Those
Do
are
it
people with
physically.
masters, and then other people, and then other colleagues. So I enjoyed the whole show, but they were like asking a physical one would be the best of all, but we have picked a lot of interesting stuff.
Yes.
So keep it in your parking lot.
Okay. It's understood. So more questions?
There are more questions in the chat, but then you can give those answers and then I read for you as we go along.
Let's have 2 more questions.
2 more questions. Okay, there's one. Is the research gap automatically created that was from Goretti, created or picked from the indicated areas of further study? I think she was asking about the first presentation. And then 2, in case one takes up actually about plagiarism, what has been takes up generated summary and use it without acknowledging or citing it properly, then that termed as plagiarism, which is automatic, obviously.
Yes.
And then there's also a hand from the person who gave us an opening prayer, Mr. Adeyinka from Nigeria. I'm going to ask him to ask directly. Please, you can unmute and ask your question.
Okay. Good morning, colleagues. My question is just straightforward. Please, can we get the slides for this presentation? It would be nice to have it to continue to refresh our minds. Thank you.
Okay, well, the question is very okay. To NEMRA family, they will provide I think they will provide the slides and then the recordings. Mr. Konrad, do you want to go with those 5 before we can add others?
Okay. Now let's start with the first question about how I was able to manipulate ChatGPT to give me some sources to explore the topic that I was interested in researching. Let me share my screen first. So this is this is the topic that we were dealing with earlier, and the abstract, and then the research questions, and then here I just added this prompt here. Suggest literature to read and understand this topic, dating from this date.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, so it will generate. If this is not enough, you can still request for more information. But like I told you, this the version 3.5 is based on sources from below what, 2021 and below. So the current sources and what you'll not be able to get. So for current sources, you can begin with this and then you go to elicit. Elicit is going to give you is going to give everything, even the current ones and what. Because for it is trained on a database that is not limited by date on, it's called the semantic database. Yes, it has over 155 billion papers. So that one is not limited, and what? This one is limited, 2021. Yes. So on the next question of how to deal with the advent of ChatGPT and students copying assignments and what, I think this cannot be avoided right now, because no student who knows about ChatGPT is going to leave it out. Because first of all, it is very simple to use, and they're not going to put in any effort. But what I think you should do is you should actually encourage them, but then train them how to think, how to use it, but not stop them from using it. Because there have been instances where one put a prompt in ChatGPT to generate content that cannot be detected by AI that has been generated from ChatGPT, and it went ahead and produced that content. Because you can even use ChatGPT here to write for you, let's say, a speech, like the way Obama would draft a speech, and it will do that for you. Yeah, so this is very, very challenging, but we have to find a way how to mix, we can train the students on how to use it ethically. That's the only way to go.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. Then
some of the ethical dilemmas in AI, they are quite very difficult.
Yeah, they're very difficult. That is very true.
And if they come in a corrupt-free environment like Uganda, I don't know where we shall end.
But you know, they're not even affecting only us, even whites and what. So the next question about the research gap and what, let's go back to elicit. 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 Did I close that? No, it's still open. So now about the research gap. For some papers, of course, now this is the AI, and the AI is not perfect. For some papers, it will pick for you that. Other papers, it will not pick. It's you who has to read and say, okay, now, what am I looking for? What are the limitations? Look at the limitations. And from there, you'll be able to understand the gap in the research. Otherwise, you cannot rely on it to always be giving you, okay, this is the research gap. What if it gives you something wrong? So you just have to pay attention to that. It is not automatic. For some papers it will, other papers it won't. And Elicit is relying on people to write good papers. So if someone writes a terrible paper, then even Elicit is going to give you terrible news. That is why you have to keep on reading. Yes, this is going to simplify, obviously, the work for you to read and what, but you can't avoid reading. So after reading multiple papers, you'll get to understand. Let's say you read the first 4 papers and they are very similar. You realize this one is saying that it is similar to this, meaning the gap must be this. And you close it, you narrow it. So next question about the slides. Those ones are going to be shared. But I hope this presentation has been recorded, because I realized the slides are not as in-depth. So if this presentation has been recorded, then they could share with you the recording for you to review and look back. So could we have more?
The next set of questions, Madam.
Excuse me, they didn't answer my question on installing Zotero in Word.
Sorry. Let me do that now in Microsoft Word. Okay, let me make sure. Let me make sure it's not installed in. I don't know how to make sure it's not installed in Word, but like I said, you close Word. Let me share Zotero. Let me share my screen again here for Zotero and yeah, Zotero and Word. Okay, share. So, like I said, if it's not installed there in Word, you go to Edit, Preferences. Why is it Advanced? No. Sorry. So let me repeat. File. No, sorry. Edit here. Edit. Preferences. Then you might find this one. It is whatever general is selected. There's general, synchronize, search, export, site, advanced. So you'll come to site. Then under site, there's styles. There's also word processors. You click on word processors. Then you click on this one, reinstall Microsoft Word in. That should be able to install this plugin here. This one, the Zotero plugin in Word, so that you can use it. Is that clear?
Thank you very much. Some more sets of questions.
Yes, please.
One from Madam Kukunda Liz Bachayo. It says, does one have to be subscribed to the journal to get the summaries of the paper using Elicit? I think you answered it.
No, you don't have to be subscribed to get a summary.
Okay.
It's only if it's closed. If it's a closed source, it's only maybe the PDF, like the full text document, that you may not be able to access, just the full text document. But summary, abstract, those one you'll get.
And also I would like to thank Mr. Brian O'Brien has been answering a lot of questions and putting in a lot of comments and even providing slides. People have already downloaded them. We really appreciate. Yes. The second question is, have you compared ChatGPT and Google Bard?
I've not yet compared ChatGPT and Google Bard, but so far, ChatGPT is way ahead compared to Google Bard.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but you can still try and use both because they work in the same manner.
Professor Chivita, is that a new hand? And you ask your question?
Yes, it is, and it will be a brief question. There is
Perfect.
a point.
You can proceed.
There is a point, Konrad, when you mentioned, you said, "I'll show you a trick for finding sources which are not open source," but I don't know whether you showed us that trick.
Oh, I did not show you. I don't know. Because they what I've been using is there's an organization called Research for Life, which provides access to various materials for research, and they subsidize low-cost countries like majority in Africa and South America. So they have different classes of countries, A, B, C. And for us who are in category A, they subscribe and then they provide this access to different libraries. So when you go to your library, they'll be able to provide for you access to Research for Life. And Research for Life has, if you're using Research for Life, you can now access some of these papers that require subscription. I don't know. Let's organize a physical session and I'll demonstrate that.
Okay, so you are speaking to Dr. Olive Chogabire's actual request. She says, yes, we need to have a physical session to add on other tools. I think you are speaking to us and most of our hearts. There are also a number of comments. Mr. O'Brien said Google Bard is free though. And then he said, thank you very much for the presentation, as well as Victoria Ifendi, if I pronounce the name well. He said, thank you for the excellent presentation and looking forward for the recording and the PowerPoint presentation. However, there are also some other question.
Yes.
Okay, let me just go. Oh, you also, O'Brien said they have been using he has been actually using Zerto for a decade. And I think he shared some of these slides on the chat. And some people downloaded them and we are going to ask them to share with the NEMRA family.
Wonderful.
And then it says Zerto works seamlessly in Irbina with the LibreOffice as well as the other properly packages from I think Microsoft. And then Njoroma says great presentation. And then he says, I think also was commenting about the features of I think in microword. I think he was asking how can he install it in his Word since he's using MacBook. What does he need to do so that he can install it?
I think Zotero works on even Apple as well.
Okay.
Yes, it works on Apple as well. So the reason why I was showing you earlier, if that plugin is not in Word, but most of the times when you install Zotero, it will install it automatically. So that is just troubleshooting if it's not there in Word.
I think those were the key questions.
Okay.
Okay. Are there any more comments from colleagues? It is 7 minutes past 11, and I think we have kept time. Brian goes ahead and says perhaps the physical session can be held in Technological University of the Sanon, TAS, and he smiles. Can we get a comment from Madame Florence?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the nice presentation, Konrad. My comment might not be to Konrad, but as scholars, I've seen like in Elsevier, when you're submitting a paper, they ask you if you've used any AI tools and how you've used them. But sometimes as scholars, you feel if maybe you tell them I've used this, they will doubt your capacity like to be a scholar somehow. You feel like you don't want to disclose that. So I'm wondering, I do like a lot of literature reviews. If I could, like in the methodology, sometimes you can, like if you use softwares, sometimes you use this software to do this and that. So I was wondering if you explained how you maybe use a list to get relevant literature and how it helped you to this and that. Technical and as academician, are they like journals that would find it wrong that you used it?
No. It's the reason why maybe they may fault you is if you do not acknowledge or you do not cite, or that's the only issue.
So it is okay to acknowledge.
It is okay to
sometimes
acknowledge.
it can create bias.
Of course, because these models are, yes, there's that bias, and then there's wrong information and what. That's
and
why
there are those reviewers that are conservative.
That's why you don't have to pick everything they give you. Look at it, think critical about it, and then right.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Konrad. I have a question for you.
Yes, please.
In the it is AI in the medical field. We have a number of devices that actually people want to import, and I just want to be precise. Sometimes there are members of Rex who sit and they just clear things without knowing, and I know this area can be a little difficult. And I think I was given one of the weekends to review a paper about medical devices that are going to be used in clinical and research setting. What do I mean? For instance, a robot is imported to the country, but people call it a medical device, and you don't know, and you can clear. But then when you're using a robot and this a prompt information. Just imagine I'm doing a word round, I'm mentioning somebody, and there is need for confidentiality and privacy. But this robot, using its eyes with lenses, is transmitting information to information abroad, like to Germany or France or UK. What would be your take? And I wanted also other members on this forum to give their view, because sometimes when we don't pass such a kind of protocol, people complain and they really want to get us onto the wrong and eat us up. But this artificial intelligence can really cause us into big dilemma. Just imagine you're examining somebody as he is physically, and then somebody is seeing across, and you're really encroaching on a patient's autonomy of privacy and confidentiality. What will be your take?
Now, as far as I'm concerned, there are a lot of complexities when it comes to AI. And I know people have complained about also privacy of the information and what, and then also inaccuracies. But the problem is also our legislations are lagging behind on some of these issues. So you have to assess like the level of risk involved in some of these things. Then that should inform you based on that standpoint. Otherwise, it is a very, very gray area.
Okay. Have you faced, you have developed a number of programs I've seen in your CV, and you've really been exposed. Are there some ethical dilemmas, ethical issues you've faced, and you felt like you needed to refer? Refer means you are like held up between a hard rock and rough surface, and you feel like you needed a second thought. And if you referred, you referred to your mentors or other people? Thank you.
Now, for me, my field of operation, okay, I've not been in the medical field, so I know the risks are very, very high. So for me, my major concern has been more about privacy of the information. Yes, being exposed and what. So that's where my concerns have been. But of course, we make sure that our users consent and what, and they are aware of all these things before, let's say, maybe they are submitting their papers and what they are aware. So that's the way we've been dealing with it.
And for me, I would say that there's some ethical dilemma first. Sometimes when you're like using survey tools on social media or on website, I think it doesn't allow you to make a genuine consent. It first says, oh, fill in your details. And then when you reach there, you consent. And after consenting, it has already taken the information, but there has not even been terms and conditions agreed between the person doing the survey and then you, but they have already taken your precious information. What is your comment?
Of course, now the way those social media companies act is for them, they are protecting themselves against what? Legal, let's say legal damage or something like that. Yeah.
Yes.
They're just protecting themselves. Whether you want or not, it is their terms that you're accepting.
Okay. Mr. Moses Tumuhaimire, I think. Mr. Moses, can you ask your question?
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. Yeah, mine is about AI and maybe to all of us. I think we need to read the policies. And I see O'Brien is reminding us about the Data Protection Act, because the rate at which AI is developing is a bit fast.
Yes.
And you've had one person share that maybe universities, I know there is one of the big government university here which wanted to ban students from using ChatGPT. But of course, now the challenge is you're asking knowledge questions which are kind of outdated, and they are everywhere with technology. To me, I think we need to be shifting now towards the real doing, the practical aspects, application of this knowledge. Otherwise, if we stay where we are, then we shall see as if technology and AI is encroaching on our power, which power is really not making sense. Yeah, so I think we need to keep thinking, look at the policies, go practical, go competence, go to application, because AI is sorting the knowledge aspect. Yeah, thank you.
True. So thank you for those wonderful questions.
I think my last comment is going to go to you, Konrad, and it's about what is your comment about AI and cybersecurity?
AI and cybersecurity. Should I say, what should I say? I know there are instances where AI is being used now even to enhance our cyber capabilities. And then there are instances where it is also being misused. So it is complicated, cybersecurity. But it is an environment we have to live with. We have to learn how to use them, because that's where now the world is heading to.
Yeah, okay. And Mr. O'Brien is saying that people should read Uganda Data Protection and Privacy Act of 2019 so that you know it in and out, because it has a lot of regulatory measures and the penalties. With those few remarks and questions, I think let me take this opportunity to invite our CEO, CEO, Dr. Juliet Chasimile, to make a comment before I invite Dr. Gad to close today's webinar. Dr. Juliet, if you're on, please, can you give us a word? before we can invite Dr. Gad to close, to give a vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chiberu. I think Dr. Gad can give a vote of thanks and even wrap up. But we want to appreciate Konrad for accepting our invitation for this seminar and for everyone who has attended. Over to you, Doctor.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me take this honor to call our veteran judge and the great author, I think, of qualitative research, Dr. Gad Ruzaza, to give a vote of thanks and whatever he wants to give us. Thank you very much. You're most welcome, Dr.
All protocol is observed. I can be heard.
Yes, please.
You are excellently heard.
We are in the midst of exam time, the celebration of a unique leader, African leader of his marriage in Western Uganda. And we are also in the midst of a motorare, as well as indigenous knowledge, where I'm an expert, and artificial intelligence thinking and practice. I'd like to salute Dr. Konrad for leading the way towards transformation of Uganda and similar environments, anchoring on NEMRA, which is beyond Uganda, to enlighten us about the potentials and the pathways of artificial intelligence as it applies to its application to education, research, and the engaged knowledge society. It is my consideration that Dr. Konrad will do well to host another seminar as requested in the charts that I saw a few minutes ago, to host a seminar where each half day he gives credence to an aspect of artificial intelligence. I know that for every name, there is behind it someone who did scholarly work to discover the particular artificial intelligence application, such as Zotero. I also know that people are now going very far. Recently, there was something that appeared like a very notorious way to look at life, that you could buy a woman if you are a greedy man, then she would be charged for 72 hours, but there was no soul. I think the name was Crow. But also we have alluded to aspects of ethics, which refers me to an old-time PhD thesis by Dr. Douglas McGregor, who talked about the human side of the enterprise. Please be aware that artificial intelligence, behind it is the human being. The human being is able to recreate and energize him or herself, but also very capable of destroying him or herself. So in a pursuit to build a more humane society, I call upon the NEMRA fraternity, NEMRA members, to go on the good side of the human enterprise. And this is why NEMRA was started, to build evidence for policy, to transform environments where we will have a footprint. So I thank you, Dr. Konrad. I've been here for a long time. Those years we talked about the IQ, the IQ, which really was an aspect of human intelligence. Then later on, there was emotional intelligence. Then now there are many forms of intelligence, including machine intelligence. I would like to thank you for eloquently enlightening us. I would like to thank you for preparing well, but I would like also to mention that we are back where the universities started. We are in the era of academies. NEMRA itself, ourselves as NEMRA, we are building the NEMRA Academy. So why not start the artificial intelligence aspect of the NEMRA Academy so that we don't go astray? I'd like also to use this opportunity to invite you for the next NEMRA workshop. It will be enlightening us about the doctoral journey by one senior citizen who also became a lifelong scholar, Dr. Speciosa. And so I thank you very much for listening. I hope that there has not been a lot of disruption in my environment. Thank you very much, and thanks very much for participants. Thank you very much, everyone. For me, I turn to the Almighty God, so I also thank God for this day. Thank you. Over and out.
Thank you very much.